Hey everyone, Pratik here, back again with another video. So this is a really special episode. Today I'll be talking to ZSEANO. He's a great bug bounty hunter. He's ranking top on many platforms like HackerOne, Bugbounty, and yes, we hack. He's a UK-based web application security researcher, creator of bugbountyhunter.com. So as a security researcher, I truly admire his work and I'm obliged to have him with us today. So welcome, sir, to my YouTube channel. So first of all, thank you so much for taking time out and joining me on my channel. I am very honored to have you as my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Zane. So the first question is, can you please give some quick recap about your journey in a bug bounty?
Yeah, sure. So I came across bug bounties in around 2015, 2016. I heard of HackerOne first before any other platforms. And it was basically being advertised as, well, hey, look, companies will pay you if you can find security vulnerabilities and help work with them and help them to fix it. And so I thought I'd have a little go. Earned $500 on my first bounty from XSS, and it was very quickly was like, this is really interesting and cool. I want to carry on doing this because I already knew how to hack and find vulnerabilities and things like that, just from natural interest and curiosity and just being a coder and breaking my own things and things like that. And I actually had a forum that got hacked back in like 2012, and so that sparked my interest as well. It's like, well, how did this happen? And yeah, I started on HackerOne, but I then moved over to BugCrowd because there was one program that I really liked on there, and I managed to go from having no rank at all on BugCrowd all the way to rank 2 just from one program in approximately 8 to 9 months. From there, I've just kind of made my own flow, worked out what it is that I like looking on websites and going for and things like that. And yeah, this is kind of where I'm at now, if I'm honest. I feel like I can look at any website and just kind of instantly know what to try, why I'm trying this, and do you know what I mean? Go from there, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's really good. So seeing the second question is, what motivated you to become a bug bounty hunter and when did you start?
So what motivated me, if I'm honest, to begin with, I mean, I don't talk about the bounties, obviously publicly and things like that, because I don't think it's all about the bounties. Like the big bounties and things like that are great, but I like to focus a lot on the actual vulnerabilities and what people have found and things like that. But to begin with, what motivated me was the money, if I'm honest, because I knew what XSS was. I was very fluent in XSS. Well, I can't say fluent in XSS, I guess, but I knew XSS very well and how to find it and exploit it and things like that. And when I saw that companies would pay like a minimum of 500 for just an XSS, yeah, that, if I'm honest, that's what motivated me to begin with. But as time's gone on, my motivation is more turned towards creating a more secure internet, but also being able to connect hackers with companies in a safe, secure environment without any legal issues and lawyers and things like that. And there can be, do you know what I mean, a good time together, really. And I started, well, full time 2015, 2016. So yeah.
What basics you've done before starting and doing bug bounty, and how much time you spend on basics?
So what do you mean, like the basics before bug bounty, as in like what was I doing to learn?
Yeah.
Like what was I doing before bug bounties as such?
Yeah, for only the specific of bug bounty.
So before bug bounties, I was doing web application development, making websites for people, making some software. I used to code in Visual Basic 6 and things like that. So I was making some software and I learned a bit of PHP. So that's what I was doing before. And like I say, some people were finding some issues in my code. Even I was finding issues in my code. A forum I set up got hacked. And yeah, that's kind of what made me move over to be a hacker more. And in terms of spending time on the basics, so I don't know whether other people hack like this and the way they learn, but I obviously read posts and vulnerability types and understand them, like web cache deception, cross-site request forgery and things like that. So I understand it, but I don't necessarily like, I like to practice on real life scenarios in front of me sort of thing. So it's not like I spent a lot of time learning just what XSS is and what cross-site request forgery is. I learned as I was hacking basically sort of thing. I went in blind and just kind of took it as and when it came in front of me, like just curious mindset and things like that. That's just the kind of the way I learn. It's in terms of how much time I've spent learning. I mean, I'm still learning to this day. There's no end to how long there is to learn, in my opinion. But in terms of learning the basics, well, see, that's where I like to say I hack for features. And instead of, I mean, this is on one of your questions, so I won't go into too much detail. But I don't necessarily want to look for just one vulnerability type. I'd rather look at what's in front of me and, I mean, log in things, sign up, all this and that, and then you can kind of realize that most companies and websites and things work the same. So what's worked elsewhere is going to probably work here, and you get that flow, you get that mindset, and you know what to do, really. So yeah, so I feel like I'm rambling on a lot there.
Okay. Yeah. That's a we have to at least stay updated in this field of bug bounty, and that's a really good thing. You are going to functionality wise. You are not dependent only one single bug. Yeah, that's a great thing.
Exactly.
So, Niseen, my next question is, what is your Recon methodology and what automation you use for your Recon?
So if a lot of people have got some really cool Recon things set up that they can find everything within, like if there's a subdomain that can be taken over, some people can find it within a couple of minutes and automatically take it over. I don't really spend too much time on Recon. I kind of do Recon last once I know how the web application works, common file names, parameters and things like that, because then when I'm doing my Recon and I'm looking on things like Wayback Machine, doing some subdomain scans and things like that, I already know what I should potentially be looking for in these subdomains and things like that, rather than just having a full list of subdomains and being like, well, what do I do? And then a lot of people will just like mass try brute force files and directories across all these subdomains. And yes, it can work, but I like to find out, where's this subdomain actually used in their main web application? Is there some massive API endpoint type thing that's referenced in a JS file? And you can find it by subdomain scanning, but you won't actually find files or what you need to access on there unless you actually look in their main web app or you look on old data and things like that. So I like to really put things together with Recon, with me testing the main web app basically. And in terms of manual and automation, so I do most of my hacking manually, so just Burp, repeater and things like that. The things that I have got automated is I have a tool called Any Changes, which a few people have released similar tools recently, where basically I input a list of URLs. That can be JavaScript files, that can just be endpoints. I also can tell my script whether it should be check-in authenticated, and if so, I give it credentials to be able to log in if it's, an endpoint that you have to be logged in for. And it will basically detect, is there any new changes on this endpoint JavaScript files, what's been added, what's new, and yeah. I could automate a lot more of my stuff, I guess, but I know that things change very quickly on the internet and things like that, and my scanner might be able to pick it up automatically now, but maybe by the time I've got to hack at it, something might change. And I guess that's where automating it would come in handy, but I don't know. I really like manual hacking. Is the fundamental line of that. That's a main thing we are liking in your, like, the main thing. You are not only talking about Recon, you are talking about methodologies. Next question is, what do you look first for, like, when you get a target or an API endpoint? So if it's an API endpoint, then I'm going to look for some documentation to understand, how does this API endpoint work? What does it do? What is it expecting me to input? And if I input something else, what does it do, sort of thing? If it's like a bug bounty program, I've just got an invite. I don't focus on just one bug as such. Like, so from years of hacking, and people will pick this up the longer they've been hacking, but you'll find websites have majority of the same features and they work relatively the same. They take user input via parameter, they process it, and something will either happen server side or it'll output a response. And so for me, I always say to people, I hack for features. So imagine you've got a developer portal, like for example, PayPal. PayPal have a public bug bounty program, and they have a developer portal on their PayPal website where you can test webhooks, IPN calls, and things like that. So as a hacker, you should know instantly what to try there, like server-side request forgery, because other people have found similar bugs on other webhooks in other developer portals, on other programs and things like that. So that's kind of what I recommend to people. Don't just focus on one bug. Don't just say, right, I'm just going to find XSS. I'm just going to find this. I'm just going to do this. Take the website at face value for how it works and what it's intended to do. So make an account, log in. After you've made an account and logged in, revisit the register page and the login page to see what happens. Does it simply redirect you elsewhere, or does it allow you to re-sign up for some reason? Is this redirect controlled by a parameter? Is there any SSO tokens? Is there any references of OAuth on the register page and things like that? And before you know it, you could have spent the entire day just hacking their login portal. So yeah, that's my advice personally. Other people prefer to just look for XSS and things like that, but that's just me personally and what I recommend to people.
Yeah. Okay. So some short questions now. What Burp?
Okay.
Yeah. So what Burp extension you use?
Let me open Burp. If I'm honest, right now I have none enabled. So at this time of recording, none.
Okay.
Yeah, none.
Okay, not an issue. So what you recommend, manual or automation?
That's on user preference. If you're really good at making tools and understanding like what you should be looking for in responses and behavior, then by all means automate what you want to do. But if you want to, I don't know, get that buzz of hacking as such, where, you know what I mean, you get that dopamine rush of, oh my God, I found a bug, something weird's going on here, then I recommend manual, and it's a lot of fun manual hacking, really.
Yeah. So the next question is how you hunt for JS files.
So to begin with,
this is your specialty. I know that. JS files is your specialty.
See, I always wonder why people think that that's like a speciality as such, because as you're testing a website, JavaScript files are just naturally referenced in the HTML files and things like that, because, well, they're needed for the website to run, aren't they? And AJAX requests and things like that. So to begin with, when I'm first going through a web application and I'm writing notes and doing a little bit of main app recon as such, I'll reference the JavaScript files found on endpoints. So we'll start at the beginning. If I'm logging in, what JavaScript files are used there? Obviously, I'm not interested in things like jQuery and things like that. But if there's some custom JS files on there, I want to know what do they do, because there might be some post message hidden in there. There might be some DOM XSS. There might be, do you know what I mean? And that's where I write notes. So if I've got a login, the login page, register page, what JavaScript files are referenced, what do they do? That's where I usually add them to my any changes. But another thing as well is once I've basically gone through the main web app and I've found common keywords, common parameters, and not only that, but you've worked out how they're actually having their file names named. So is it just simply app.js, or is there any numbers? Is there version numbers? So version 1.1, what happens at version 1.0, for example? And from there, that's when I'll use Burp Intruder with a custom word list and start trying to brute force for some other payment for some other JavaScript files. For example, if I haven't found any payment things, is there payment.js and things like that, oauth.js, because they might not be used anymore, but the old JavaScript file might still be on there, might still contain some interesting things, and yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So the next question is how you deal with burnouts.
Good question. So I haven't done a lot of hacking this year because, well, I felt like I had a bit of a bad experience with a bug bounty program at the start of the year. So that's kind of where I caused myself a bit of a burnout in, like, I lost a bit of motivation. I didn't feel like hacking anymore and things. For me personally, it was just taking a step back, just exercising more. Obviously, if people exercise and they still feel burnout, then that's not very good advice to them. But for me personally, exercising and just trying to just work out why you're not happy, what's actually gone wrong here as such. That's for like staying motivated and things. But for burnout, it's to not overdo it. And if you're burning yourself out, that's then when you should kind of go in with the nit and gritty type things. So really spend time on this program that you are burnt out on. This could be bad advice for some people. They might say don't continue hacking if you burn out as such. Obviously, take a break if you are really burnt out and you're stressed out. But if you're feeling burnt out as in you can't find any bugs, then that's where go in the nitty gritty and really look through line for line what is happening on this web application. If at the end of it you still can't find anything, then maybe this company has done a good job and there's no bugs, and take a little break and relax. Really, looking after yourself is the main thing, really.
Yeah. So the next question is, if you could go back in past and talk to younger self who is starting bug bounties, so what will be your suggestion, tips and tricks to him?
First of all, I would say to not get too attached and emotional towards bugs. So I've in the past felt like, wow, I've really wrecked this company. They should be really grateful for this. And I've been passionate about my report and helping them. And the response back from the company is just, I don't know, I guess they did care because they did fix it, but I don't know, I didn't feel respected as such. And that kind of put a bit of downer on me. And it was like, what's the point of this? So for me, I would say don't get too attached to things. Try and treat it professionally like a job. These companies simply just want to have your report, fix it, pay. Most of them aren't interested in getting to know you more and working together and securing themselves better than paying XSS over and over again. Tips and tricks. I'm still learning new tips and tricks, but I don't know if I'm honest, because I don't know, it's a hard one to answer because I feel like the way I was hacking a few years ago is still the way I'm hacking now. Automate finding parameters is probably something I would say actually, because back when I did start, I was looking for things manually, but then when I released input scanner and JS scanner, they're very outdated now, but they were to find JS files and parameter names automatically. So my tip and trick would to be automate some of my job.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, any idea how to change the mentality of this? Like, app is already tested by a lot of pros, like professional hackers.
So the best advice is to just treat it like no one's ever tested it and look at it at face value. You're the first person to look at this. Now, and this I mentioned this in my methodology. If people then do still keep saying, well, it's been heavily tested, you can use other people's research if it's been publicly disclosed as a lead and a starting point. So it can, do you know what I mean? If somebody's disclosed some really cool XSS bypass, some SQL injection, WAF bypass type thing, you can use that as a starting point to be like, well, this company was vulnerable to this. Maybe they still are vulnerable to this. Look on Open Bug Bounty and things like that. So yeah, even if you do feel like people have tested it, reach out to them, ask for some help and advice, use what they have already found and etc. for your own help, basically. But always take it for face value. Code changes all the time. Websites change all the time. New features come out all the time. There's always going to be bugs. Like I say, I haven't submitted, I haven't done bug bounties properly for a while, but I bet if I was to hack today, I could probably find some stuff because there's new code coming out. New code could have been pushed today over the weekend. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. That's a great answer. And the next question is, what is the best things you have purchased with your bug bounty money?
Probably my car. I really like my car.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really spend money or anything, if I'm honest. I spend a lot of money on pizza.
I also like pizzas. Yes, same things. Whenever after in the holidays or something like boring for hacking, so drink Red Bulls, eating some pizza, hanging out with friends. Yeah.
I'd probably say my number one thing that I'm proud of is paying off my mum's debt. That was a good feeling, helping her out. But I'm not really a materialistic person. I don't go out and buy random stuff. I don't know. I'd rather help people out, really. So yeah,
that's a good thing. Okay, suppose you got a lots of subdomains and some open ports on them. Then which port you usually look for on the start?
Being brutally honest, I don't ever do any port scanning on bug bounty programs. Being brutally honest, I don't, because I mean, back in the day, yeah, you could run Nmap and find some stuff, do you know what I mean? But in this day and age, you might find some stuff, but it's one of those things that anyone and everyone can do very, very easily. And to me personally, yeah, I just don't do it. Obviously, I look for the most very common, which is port 80 and 443, but that's usually when I'm running Burp Intruder to find some interesting files and things that's determining me what's online. I don't necessarily run Nmap and things like that. Obviously, I do sometimes, but not often enough. Not enough to give people advice as to what common ports and things to, do you know what I mean, go for to score a bug as such.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so the next question is, how do you choose a hunting platform and program? How should a beginner approach to choose a program to start?
Wow, there's lots of platforms out there. So there's, do you know what I mean, it's up to you which one you want to choose. They all relatively work the same, where you sign up, you don't have access to much. The more you hack on VDPs and things, and maybe do some CTFs, then they'll obviously invite you to more. So yeah, that's, I don't know, it's up to people what platform they choose. They have their pros and cons, but relatively work the same. But for a beginner approaching a program to start with, well, that's goes back to guess what we've said earlier, where let's say, for example, you're hacking on Verizon Media, you've chosen to hack on them. Go find out what people have found and discussed on them. I mean, Shubs has made a really big blog post about bugs that he's found, and it's very, I mean, he's talked publicly that he's hacked on Verizon before. They've done loads of live events and things like that. So yeah, you get a starting point and work out what it is you want to do as such. For example, okay, I'm pick Verizon Media. I'm not going to go with the Recon approach. I'm just going to go for their main web app. But what is Verizon Media's main web app? They have lots. So that is where you do have to do a bit of subdomain discovery and recon to work out mail.yahoo. They have sports and things like that. And that's you can work out, okay, so if I was targeting mail.yahoo, what are the most common things I'm going to be looking for here? They allow me to upload files in emails. They allow HTMLs to be sent in emails. What can happen here basically? And you go down the rabbit hole and you use their site as intended, and a bug should hopefully appear, and add on all the recon and things after, and hopefully you'll be a bug bounty hunter.
Yeah. So the next question is, what issues you look for usually and how you go about increasing the impact?
Well, typically when I first start looking at a new program, obviously I always talk about it and people will be like, is this the only bug you look for? But the login page, you know what I mean? I always find some way to leak OAuth tokens, SSO tokens that lead to account takeover. I always do. So finding an open redirect is something that's always high up on my list, because I know I'm going to need one at some point, whether to bypass some internal firewall where it only allows requests to their own server and things like that, leaking tokens and etc. So yeah, open redirects are always the first thing that I kind of find and try and exploit really and create impact for, because they're the easiest one to go from a P4 to a P2, do you know what I mean? And $50 to 2,500 potentially, so it's a big jump. Okay,
so like if you could go for only one bug for whole life, what it would be?
Probably XSS. Yeah, I mean, it's the most easiest bug to find and exploit and create impact for. Yeah, XSS.
Okay. So I do know about bugbountyhunter.com, but for the people out there, can you please tell me about it?
Yeah, sure. Great. So Bug Bounty Hunter has been in the works for a couple of months. It's designed to teach people how to get started and get involved in bug bounties, but also learn about web application security vulnerabilities. So I created something called Barker, where you can test on a fully functional website with real bugs, basically put inside of it for you to find. And I'm going to continue adding updates, new features. And I also announced to my members in the Discord channel that we're going to be having a Hacking Friday, where I want to basically help people learn how to write notes as well, because in my methodology I write in efficient notes to help you. I mean, if you've taken a break and you want to come back, you can then also go back to your notes and pick up where you left off, and I mean, you remember what it was vulnerable to in the past, parameters and things like that. So I'm hopefully going to be teaching people also how to write notes on a program that we'll be sticking to. But yeah, I've got lots in store for Bug Bounty Hunter. The name is great, bugbountyhunter.com, because it's exactly what we are. So I really want to help people on the Bug Bounty Hunter journey and teach them how to become a full-time Bug Bounty Hunter potentially, because yeah, that's the plan really.
This is a really great initiative. Hats off, man.
This is just a short video to give you a quick run through of what bugbountyhunter.com is, which is a new website set up by me, ZSEANO, to help you get started in bug bounties and learn all about web application vulnerabilities. So I highly recommend you check it out and go through all the content and details, because this is just going to be a quick run through. We have reading material teaching you about bug bounty toolkits. You can read about various bug types and things like that, getting started in bug bounties. We also offer a membership where you can hack on a fully functional website designed around, I mean, it works like a real website, fully functional, with real bugs on it from real findings, and it's your job to use the mindset and see if you can find them. We also offer free web application challenges, various bug types, XSS, IDOR, cross-site request forgery, with lots more to come. We also have the ZSEANO Playground, which is a demo of the membership where the website works like a real website and there are bugs here for you to find. Highly recommend you check it out to check all of the detail that we have here. We also have lots of updates on the way. Like I say, we've just launched and there's lots to come, so be sure to check us out.
Know about you like Overwatch.
I'm up to play any game. I don't know if you've ever heard of the game StarCraft. It's a really old game by Blizzard as well. Not World of Warcraft. I didn't like that one. Warcraft 3 was a good game as well. But mainly I play Overwatch. I don't know what it is about Overwatch. I don't know if you've ever played Overwatch. I just feel like the way it's created is it's not ever the same game every time. You've got to actually think. It's not just shoot and kill. You've actually got to put some thought into what you're doing, and obviously try and kill the enemy team. But yeah, but I'm always down to have a gaming session with anyone. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, like, I know you are not that active in bug bounty these days, but how much time did you spend in your initial phase?
So yeah, well, even though I haven't been active in bug bounties this year, I have been very active with having companies reach out to me and hire me for a certain amount of time to look for some vulnerabilities. And I actually found an interesting XSS on a client test recently, which actually affected a bug bounty program and affected lots of people. And they only just recently paid it out. So, but in the initial phase, I was hacking non-stop. I was waking up, hack. I mean, there's a funny story. So actually, we was in Las Vegas for the HackerOne live event, and we then flew home with my girlfriend, and then we'd already had a holiday booked to Greece 2 days after. So this was booked for a while, and we was like, we can cram this in. We can get to Vegas, come home for 2 days, and then go out. It's going to be very tiring, but we can do it. And I was just so eager to hack. I was in Greece, staying up till like 4 or 5 in the morning on the balcony, just hacking non-stop. So in the initial phase, when bug bounties first came around and that, I was hacking, non-stop. When I do hack, I go exactly like that. I put my all in. I will start hacking and I cannot stop hacking. That's why I've tried to take some time out so I can just focus on Bug Bounty Hunter rather than getting distracted with bug bounties and things like that, because I can't multitask. I'm rubbish at it. So, but now Bug Bounty Hunter is up and running and I'm getting into a flow of things. That's where I'm going to be getting back to doing some bug bounties and hopefully find some really, really cool bugs.
Yeah. So any future plans for bugbountyhunter.com? Can you please tell some about like any new challenges that you release soon? Because
yeah, sure. So I have some more IDOR, XXE challenges and an SQL injection challenge coming out, which were the free web application challenges.
Okay.
I have two guides coming out, which I guest post written by iBruteForce, who is a good friend of mine who's been helping me out with some things. He's written a good guide on writing notes and using Firefox containers when you're testing for IDORs. So they'll be coming out soon. I'm also adding 5 new vulnerabilities to fast food hack-ins, which if discovered will give you a code, which if you give to me, then you get free access to my methodology and Bug Bounty Hunter and things like that, and to hack on Barker. And for the members of Bug Bounty Hunter, well, I have lots in plan, lots in store, lots and lots. So what people are hacking on at the moment is called Barker, which is a social network for hackers to share photos of their dogs and things like that. And later down the line, there's going to be something called Barker patched, where basically the bugs have been patched, but have they been patched correctly? Because a lot of times you'll find companies will say, hey, this bug has been fixed, can you confirm it? And you might find a bypass and they've actually fixed it really stupid. And you know what I mean? You can then make a new report. So that's coming later down the line. And a lot of people want to get into bug bounties, but not as a hacker. They want to help a company manage reports, understand what's coming in, sort them, get them to the right team. But there's not really anywhere to practice being an analyst as such. I mean, you have to get a job at bug bounty platform. So one day I would like to open positions. So if somebody, for example, is applying for a company and they have to manage bug bounty reports, they can be an analyst for Barker and they can learn how to replicate these reports that real hackers are sending in, and they can then learn vulnerabilities as they're replicating these bugs. Because that's, do you know what I mean? Some people aren't interested in being a hacker and doing bug bounty programs. They want to be on the other side. So I'd like to be able to help them out really. But yeah, lots and lots planned really.
This is a really great initiative. So guys, that's it for today. I would like to thank Mr. ZSEANO for taking some time out and making a cool video with me. So guys, if you like this video, press the like button. And if you're new on my channel, make sure you guys press the subscribe button. Some about your social media that you are really active.
Yeah, so really active on Twitter. So twitter.com/ZSEANO. I'm also active on YouTube. So youtube.com/C/ZSEANO, or just simply search for ZSEANO on YouTube. They're the only platforms that I'm active on currently, and I have lots of new videos coming out and things like that. So yeah, be sure to check me out.
Yeah, sure. We also do some live streaming soon. Okay, I share all the blogs link. You can also find on Medium. ZSEANO is also write cool blogs on medium.com. Okay, so you can find the blogs also. Okay, so I put down all the description link and you can find it on here also. Okay.